Hello, Home Slices is here with Home Slice Adulting, coming to you with my review for Netflix's The Circle, Season 3, Episode 6, entitled A New Member of the Wolf Pack. Thanks for clicking on this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And you all, I have been binging The Circle as much as I possibly can. And unfortunately, they've gotten, used to having a lot of cliffhangers. So I'm going to try to go through this as soon as possible because there was a cliffhanger at the end and I'm eager to see what happened next. So let's go ahead and get into this. Okay. So, there's people cooking breakfast. There's a disingenuous conversation between Calvin and Jackson. Calvin, interestingly enough, has very good instincts about Jackson. Look, the person playing Jackson, her name is actually Rachel, I think. And Rachel is so concerned with not being herself that she's not being anybody. She could literally be a robot with the types of responses that she has. She's supposed to be a single white male who has literally shown no romantic interest in any of the other ladies. So that's a problem. She has no opinion on anything. When she's asked about something, it always goes back to just happy to be here, having a fun time. And it's like, you sound like a robot trying to pretend to be human. That's what it sounds like. So, Calvin is picking up on that. Calvin is prodding her for information and she's not giving it to him. And she's like, but you call me a catfish, in public. And it's like, you are a catfish. like he didn't say nothing that wasn't true. But anyways, so yeah, I don't like this Jackson person. She has the personality of an English cucumber who likes to do yoga, or, in yoga pants. So, she has no personality. She's not playing the game very well. Calvin is picking up on it. And, I wish Calvin would be more vocal about his suspicions of Jackson. So moving on, they have a very disingenuous conversation and Jackson, aka Rachel, leaves the chat abruptly. So Calvin thinks he's onto something and he is. Okay, next up we have this breakfast chat going on between Roxana, Isabella, and Daniel. Daniel is hilarious. He's horrible at making breakfast, apparently. His bacon is burnt and his pancake somehow looks like an omelet. So he's having a hard time. There's another disingenuous chat that goes in. And what I will say about both Kay and Calvin is that they are, for lack of a better term, real ones, because these people obviously have beef with other people in the group, particularly from the rap battle, and they open chats to address the information. And so that's, to me, that's what a real adult does. You have a problem with somebody, you address it. The problem is that Jackson was not playing ball, and the other issue is that Nick and Kay, I don't know, I feel like this was not what it was supposed to be. Kay was trying to use her strategy of the three C's and F: compliments, commonality, something else, and fantasy. And so she's trying to smooth things over and make it seem like there's an alliance. And this is a hole in her strategy because Nick is not falling for it. Nick is so entrenched in the thought that she is a catfish that there's nothing that she could do to change his mind or to make him think that she's being genuine with him. This is only making him more suspicious. So I think this is a flaw in the triple CF strategy that Kay has. I think it may have even been better for her to go in there and say, I know you have thoughts about me being a catfish, but I am not a catfish. I want to let you know that I volunteered to go and get rid of Orange Michelle or whichever Michelle it was. And why would I do that if I was a catfish? She needs more than whatever she's doing here. I didn't like it. Nick wasn't falling for it. Next thing you know, we get this James guy. Y'all, I'm not here for James. He seems like a fake Doughboy. Y'all know who Doughboy is? He's like a comedian. He was with All Def Digital. He was also on Wild 'N Out. He just seems like a cheap version of Doughboy. But anyways, he's supposed to be a comedian and a DJ. And interestingly enough, he's not that funny. I think Daniel has been funnier than James. So that's why he has to DJ, because being a comedian is hard. But anyways, a good thing though, he's going in as himself. So that's nice. Okay, yeah. He has his little antics, but I don't care because I don't necessarily like him. But what I did like is that they notified everybody that there's a new player in the circle. And because this new player is coming in like 3 or 4 rounds later than everybody else, they provide the new player, James, with the opportunity to invite people to the chat one by one. Now, when they said that they could invite people one by one, and that the ratings would be later that day, I assumed that he would talk to one person, send them out of the chat, and bring somebody else in. It was not clear to me that he could bring people into the chat and they would all be in this one cumulative chat at a time. So he scopes them out, scopes out their profiles, they're able to scope his out, and he goes through them, and what he sees is Kay looks like somebody I can trust. Now, let me tell you something. Black people stay together, okay? That is fantastic, okay? And I think that he made the right choice by picking Kay, because Kay has a lot of juice. I won't say the most juice. The juice is loose when it comes to Kay because of the way Chanel threw that monkey wrench into the plan, and the fact that Nick is holding on tightly for dear life to that monkey wrench. So, and convincing the 3 catfish in the gang to actually go along with it. So the juice is loose, baby. So the fact that the new person likes Kay and picked up on that right away, and that Kay kind of solidified this alliance about being able to help him navigate through the circle, my thought was that that was a great way to get somebody on her side. So I was like, okay, Kay, you know, may not be the next person out. The problem was when James invites the second round of people, he includes Isabella. I don't feel like I understand why he did that. But Kay, you know, gave up her vote of confidence for Calvin and Roxana, and somehow Isabella got added to the mix. So the issue came up because, unfortunately, I feel like Kay kind of slipped up a little bit. And for me, it's a problem. For me, it's like a little bit of a problem that Kay, at this point in time where there's more people added to the chat, and of course one of those people is a person that Kay has not really formed a bond with, i.e. Isabella. And so now you have somebody who you have never formed a bond with, which means that they are building alliances elsewhere, and you decide to kind of throw some shade, which lets people know that you, everything is not roses, or whatever, peaches and cream, or whatever the phrase was that she said. So I think that she made a mistake by saying this in front of mixed company, and if she wanted to really throw some salt in people's game and do it in a way where James would kind of know what was up, that she should have done it when it was just the 2 of them in the chat. So, yeah. So the next round of people that he invites into the circle chat are like Daniel, Ashley, and Jackson. And the only person who is left is is Nick. He is left out of the chat. They talk a little bit, and James right away is telling them, hey, tell me something interesting about yourself, and if it's not interesting, you can drink, and we got some Kool-Aid for Daniel, right? So Daniel does his interesting fact, something that we all knew about him already. Matthew, I don't even know. Matthew, who is playing Ashley, I'm not sure that he did an interesting fact. But here comes Jackson, who was actually played by Rachel, basically saying nothing. And right away, James picks up that Jackson is like, like maybe I should have listened to Calvin when he talked about how cool Nick was, because he recognized right away that something was off with Jackson. Nick's left out of the chat. He finally gets added. He starts to type, and then the circle chat ends. That was hilarious. Everybody else's reaction was the same as mine. I was like he gets invited last to the chat and doesn't even get to say anything. I thought that was freaking hilarious. So that was a little bit of a twist. So next thing you know, Isabella and Nick are connecting because Isabella is being portrayed by Sophia, the lesbian. She is conflicted about how to proceed, and she doesn't know what is being flirtatious versus what is coming on too strong. I personally think she's coming on a little too strong, and if Nick's powers of perception were larger than his desire to have sex with Isabella, then maybe he would have picked up on it. But I thought she was trying too hard, and it was something that he could have kind of picked up on. But I mean, he's a guy, whatever. Anyways, so Isabella starts to snitch on the fact that Kay kind of beat around the bush about there being some shade thrown at the rap battle before James got there. Again, that was one of Kay's fatal flaws. And they are forming an even tighter alliance, Isabella and Nick. And I feel like this is what Nick deserves. Nick, I feel like, is pretty unlikable. Sophia, who's playing Isabella, is also unlikable. So maybe that's why they're drawn to each other. Something about Sophia is like dirty and manipulative. And I get that that's part of the show, but something about this just makes her seem almost mean-spirited a little bit. So it's time for people to rate each other, blah, 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 blah. They go through the process of rating each other, and the ratings come back with Jackson at number 8, which makes a whole bunch of sense. Again, because Rachel is so busy trying not to be herself, she's being nobody. That's the reason why Jackson is last. They haven't made any true, real connections with anybody because they haven't really revealed anything about themselves. They're not necessarily a whole person. Once again, the person playing Jackson could be a robot trying to impersonate a human. So there's no personality, no character. She's just so busy trying to avoid being found out as a catfish that she is being a robot. I don't know which is worse, a catfish or a robot. So, oh shoot, let me see. Hold on, y'all. I'm going through and trying to see. So number 7 was Daniel. Daniel, of course, is heartbroken by this. And things are really getting shaken up because now everybody is kind of, all the people who were there originally, the people who were at the top originally are not necessarily at the top anymore. So things are really getting shaken up, and you can tell that alliances are forming for real, because the order has changed dramatically. And so the one thing that hasn't changed is that Daniel is still towards the bottom. I'll say that. But yeah, number 8 is Jackson. Number 7 is Daniel. Number 6 is Roxana. Roxana is falling to the bottom. Unfortunately, I would contribute that most to the band chat. That group is really loyal to each other. So because there are 4 of them, they are able to turn the tables on everybody else. So Roxana was just kind of in shock that she was number 6. So y'all, I'm sorry, I'm trying to go through and find the spot where they list everybody. Who was number 5? Okay, number 5 was Calvin. Calvin didn't like that he was number 5, but in the middle is not a bad place to be. Number 4, I think, was Nick. Yeah, number 4 was Nick. And then Kay is number 3, which means that she's still somewhat holding down the amount of influence that she has. And then number 1 and 2 are Isabella and Ashley. I think Ashley was number 1, which I think is very interesting because I feel like Matthew, who is playing Ashley, has kind of been quite middle of the road. Like, not really picking a side, forming multiple alliances. And I get that's why they would be closer to the top, but they still feel like middle of the road to me. Yeah. But anyway, Ashley and Isabella, who are both catfishes, get together. They have a conversation. They're mostly on the same page. But because Matthew, who is playing Ashley, is trying to protect Kay because Kay is on her side, as opposed to Nick, who has downgraded Ashley from a love interest to just a friend. He's trying to protect Kay because he knows that Kay will protect him. Isabella, on the other hand, who is being portrayed by Sophia, is like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be in an influencer spot. I need to get rid of Kay because she is the biggest threat in this competition. So my thought is, first off, I don't want Kay to go. I think Kay is great. She's fun to watch. I think that besides her relationship with Nick, she's genuinely likable and popular. However, if I was playing the game, we would have to get Kay the F out of there, okay? Interestingly enough, Ashley, who I don't think has had a lot of interactions with Calvin, has decided that he wants to go after Calvin. And because Calvin has really no incentive to keep Ashley around, I think it's a really interesting move on his part to deflect the attention away from Kay. I think that that was an excellent strategy and an excellent backup plan. And for Matthew to frame it as if Kay's position will be weakened if she doesn't have Calvin anymore is like a great way to put it. So they're both playing the game strategically. And unfortunately, we don't know who they blocked. So I have to get off of here so I can watch the next episode and figure out who got blocked. My hope is that Kay did not get blocked. I hope Calvin didn't get blocked either, but they were kind of out of options. So one of them is going home. I hope it's not Kay, and I hope it's not Calvin. So whatever. We'll see. We'll see. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this with somebody who you think will enjoy it. Peace out, home slices.